still, and then I will tell you. I complained of fatigue after my journey.
Well?
But it wasn't that was the matter with me. Not any ordinary fatigue.
You're not ill, Oswald.
Sit still, Mother. You take it quietly. I'm not downright ill either. Not what is commonly called ill. Mother, my mind is broken down. Ruined. I shall never be able to work again.
Oswald, look at me. No, it's not true.
Never to be able to work again. Never, never. A living death. Mother, can you imagine anything so horrible?
My poor boy, how has this horrible thing come upon you?
That's just what I cannot possibly grasp or understand. I've never led a dissipated life, never, in any respect. You mustn't believe that of me, Mother. I've never done that.
I am sure you haven't, Oswald.
And yet this has come upon me just the same, this awful misfortune.
Oh, but it will pass, my dear blessed boy. It's only overwork. Trust me, I am right.
I thought so too at first, but it isn't so.
Tell me everything from beginning to end.
Yes, I will.
When did you first notice it?
It was directly after I'd been home last time and had got back to Paris again. I began to feel the most violent pains in my head, chiefly in the back of my head they seemed to come. It was as though a tight iron ring was being screwed around my neck and upwards.
Well?
Well, at first I thought it was nothing, but the ordinary headache I had been plagued with while I was growing up.
Yes.
But it wasn't that. I soon found that out. I couldn't work anymore. I wanted to begin upon a big new picture, but my powers seemed to fail me. All my strength was crippled. I could form no definite images. Everything swam before me, whirling round and round. It was an awful state. At last I sent for a doctor, and from him I learned the truth.
How do you mean?
He was one of the first doctors in Paris. I told him my symptoms, and he then set out asking me a string of questions, which I thought had nothing to do with the matter. I couldn't imagine what the man was after.
Well?
At last he said, "There's been something worm-eaten in you from your youth." He used the very word vermol.
What did he mean by that?
I didn't understand it either, and begged him to explain more clearly. And the old cynic, God.
What did he say?
He said the sins of the father are visited upon the children.
The sins of the fathers.
I very nearly struck him in the face.
The sins of the fathers.
Yes. What do you think of that? Of course, I assured him that no such thing was, or that such a thing was out of the question. But do you think he gave in? No. He stuck to it, and it was only when I produced your letters and translated passages related to Father.
But then?
Well, then of course he had to admit that he was on the wrong track, and so I learned the truth. The incomprehensible truth. I ought not to have taken part in my comrades in that light-hearted and glorious life of theirs. It had been too much for my strength, so I brought it upon myself.
Oswald, no, do not believe it.
No other explanation, he said. That's the awful part of it. Incurably ruined for life by my own heedlessness. All that I meant to have done in the world, I never dare think of it again. I'm not able to think of it again. If only I could live over again and undo all that I've done. If it had only been something inherited, something one wasn't responsible for. But this, to have thrown away so shamelessly, thoughtlessly, recklessly, one's happiness, one's health, everything in the world, one's future, one's very life.
No, my dear boy, this is impossible.
You don't know. And then, Mother, to cause you all this sorrow, Many a time I've almost wished to and hoped that at bottom you didn't care so very much about me.
Oswald? My only boy. You are all I have in this world, the only thing I care about. Well, great. I thought it was really good. What do you think you can improve about Oswald? So like I really, like he's sitting and he's like pouring out his heart to his mom, but he's sitting the whole time and speaking. Like he's not being able to like express himself fully like to his mom if you're sitting the whole time. So and she's trying to pull it out of you. And so like you have to show that like anger, like that outrage that you're having. So like if you show that a little bit more. So like it's okay with like having the paper up there, but like I want you to like use your hand more while you're speaking and like you can look at it, but you can still like use body language and use your hands and show like I don't understand what's happening to me. Like gesture with your hands a little bit more, and like show your disgust of why it's happening to you, and just try to show that more with your body. I just don't want you to sit and just bury your guts because that just kind of doesn't help.
It makes total sense.
Because during that time, it was more formal to. So like if you lived in Paris and you were a painter during that time, you had like a certain kind of personality. And your mom, Miss Alving, but she's kind of like tired of living in a sad house, and you kind of know that about her, and so that's why she doesn't want you to like rebuke her all the time, and she doesn't want to rebuke you for being sad, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I really like how you're trying to draw it out. That's perfect, but a little bit more, and then you can scoot a little bit closer too, and just show that like engagement back and forth. And so like, and maybe it's not like your time to like jump up yet, but like show that like desire to try and get up. Like at the part when you're talking about the word vermolu, that line, cause that's like the line for like the sins of the fathers, that's what leads into it.
Yeah.
And so then the next line, I'm feeling like that's great, like how you're doing everything in the pacing. So I think it's going great so far. Any thoughts?
I think I had a question, but I forgot. Does she have any key points where she does want me to stand up? I know she mentioned, she kind of brushed over it earlier, but I didn't really catch it.
Yeah.
When I'm looking out the window at the terrible weather.
Yes, that part. And then. So at the beginning of the play, like before you guys are like sitting, like before you start discussing.
Yeah. I asked him.
Like you're like deciding and thinking, like you're walking across. Like it's the like come sit with me. So like you cross and you sit next to each other, because of social distancing. Yeah. But I want you to be more like be like fidgety, like kind of squirm in your chair.
Yeah.
Trying to get your emotions out.
Like uncomfortable type of feeling, like it just.
Yeah, that kind of feeling. So it's like she wants to give you medicine, but she doesn't know what to give you. Like, I don't know what the doctor is giving you, so I don't know how to help you. So that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And so she doesn't want to make it worse, though, because she can obviously see that you're in distress. So you can like fidget and move around while you're sitting and like move. But the like when you actually you go to sit up, sit down again, like trying to show that you were wanting to get up and move, but you can't. Like especially like the sins of the father part, like that would be a great spot to add it.
Like about to stand up and then not.
And then when you stand up, I don't think you need to move very far. Just come down stage a little bit. and then just sort of oscillate there. I don't think we need to necessarily go this way too far, because we don't want to necessarily get you off camera. And so you can maybe cross just a little bit this way, but mostly you can just explore the space up and down here. So let's go ahead and start with that line.
Should we check the
molding.
audio?
Yeah.